record. All right. I'm so excited to have some familiar faces and some new ones here with us today. Still have some people coming in. So I'm Julie Marty-Pearson, and I created this Pitch Fest as a part of my community membership. I saw a version of this happen in another community I'm in, and I loved it. And so I wanted to create a version of it here for all of my members and other people in my bigger community. So Pitch Fest is a part of my membership group that you get to come every month if you want to as a member, or like some of you did, you signed up separately just for this event. So very happy to have you all here. And what we will do is we're going to go around, everybody gets about 3 minutes, and you are going to pitch yourself. You're going to tell us who you are, what you do, if you have a business that you want to share. And as a podcast guest, what do you like talking about the most? And what can listeners get from you being a guest on someone's podcast? So I will go first as an example for everyone, but that's the general consensus. And then after all of the guests have done their pitches, we will open it up to any of the hosts in the room to for a couple minutes for them to share their podcast, what it's about, and what are the guests they are looking for. But before we get started with any of that, I am going to grab the link. I have an ongoing spreadsheet of podcasts that I collect. And if you know anyone else that would want to be on this list, please let me know and I will share it. So this is an ongoing spreadsheet I update monthly at PitchFest. These are active podcasts who are actively looking for guests. It's going to give you the host name and contact information if they have a guest application form, as well as links to listen and or watch their show. And most of these podcasts that are currently on there, I have either been on as a guest or helped them launch. So they are all quality shows. I highly recommend them. They all are fabulous guests, and they are really great experiences for you as a podcast guest to be a part of. And they're also really great because they all really promote it. So you get a lot of visibility from being a guest on their shows. Alrighty. So before I start my pitch, does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to ask before we officially get started? Yes,
Yeah.
Judy.
Just a quick question. The email that we received with the list of things to speak about,
Hmm.
and that is what they want to hear, those things? Or,
Yeah, as a guest, podcast hosts want to hear who you are, what are your main topics that you can talk about.
okay.
Basically, anything you would talk about without much preparation. And then specifically, they want to know why should they pick you as a guest versus someone else? Like what is the advantage? What are the tips or the information or the actions that you're going to leave their listeners with that maybe another guest wouldn't? So your uniqueness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I took it very literally and created all four of those things. And I didn't
That
know if
works.
that works. Okay. And I have
Yeah,
one more question. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It says one sentence for your business and who, like, I have
That is
two.
just a guide. You do not have to stick specifically to it. That is me just
Okay.
sharing a guide of what hosts are going to want to hear about.
Okay.
And with only 3 minutes, a sentence or two for each of those things keeps you in that time frame. Yeah, so
That's fine.
it's not like it's a script you have to stick to. It's just my way of giving you some kind of guidelines of how to pitch yourself, especially if you're new as a podcast guest.
Okay. I have two businesses. I think in 3 minutes, one business will work.
Yeah, and that is a great thing to mention. For myself, I have two podcasts that are very different. One is about pets and one is about podcasting, and that's about my business. So
Uh-huh.
sometimes when I pitch myself, I focus on one or the other, depending on what the podcast is I'm pitching. I might, if I pitch myself as a guest for my business at the very end, I might say, hey, I also love talking about pets and educating people on why they should foster and adopt. I can always add it at the end as a little side note.
Uh-huh.
But really, I would say focus your pitch on what is most important, what your business is.
That's great. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, thank you for those questions. Anybody else? Any other questions or comments? And I apologize. I hopefully it's not getting picked up on my mic, but I do have a cat outside my window that really wants to come inside. We have workers in our backyard. Our neighbor is putting up a new fence. So the outside cats are hanging out in front and they've realized where I am now. And so they keep making a racket. Anyway, okay, one last call. Any questions or anything? And some of you know because you've been here. But so what I do after this, I do record the whole event and I do post the whole event on my YouTube channel. So you might get some visibility from that. But then by tomorrow, I will go in and edit it and I will clip out your pitch and I will send it to you as a short and you can post it on your website, on social, whatever you want to do with it. And so I will share that via a Google folder because that is the easiest way because videos are hard to upload and download on email. So if you have any issues accessing it, just email me back and I'll make sure you can get access to it. Alrighty, well let's officially get started. So I will start and then I will take volunteers or I'll just go around the Zoom room. So, hi everyone. I am Julie Marty-Pearson. I am a podcaster, speaker, coach, and advocate. I help women own their voice, share their story, and grow their visibility through podcasting. I help women start their own shows, grow existing ones, or become awesome sought after guests. I host two podcasts, The Story of My Pet, which is where I advocate and educate for animal rescue, and Podcast Your Story, which I really work to amplify women's voices in podcasting. Women are still the minority significantly in podcasting, so my goal is to get as many more as I can as possible. As a podcast guest, I love to talk about podcasting. I love to share my journey of how I got into it and how it has changed my life and my business. I also love to talk about how podcasting can help you grow your visibility as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, and as a coach. And I also love to talk about how to be strategic as a podcast guest and make the right decisions, which podcasts you pitch yourself and guest on. So I love to talk about all those topics as well as once in a while I love to talk about my favorite topics like pop culture and my favorite Bravo shows as well as of course pets. That is my passion since I was a little girl and I love to help educate people on the importance of helping animals in their community. All right, there you go. I don't even know how long that was. I did not even look at the time. So, again, I'm not going to be cutting people off. It's more of a general, so we have time for everybody to go. So, I will start going around the Zoom room or take volunteers. If you want to raise your virtual hand or just unmute, go ahead. Otherwise, I will go to the next box to my right.
I'll go ahead.
Yes, Super Kate, go ahead.
Hey, I'm Super Kate or SK, and I am known for supporting multi-passionate business owners who've been in that girl boss mode for so long that they don't remember how to have fun and are just generally struggling to carry it all. But they keep believing that if they push through one more thing, then they'll be able to relax. Well, probably also simultaneously saying, if one more thing happens, I'm done. I'm done and burning it all down. So I really enjoy talking about how your mindset is connected to your body, and it's possible that all that mindset work you've been doing hasn't actually been working because you haven't worked your body into the equation. Structure is actually what your nervous system is begging for, and how your independence may be betraying you. And I support your audience with an understanding of how their nervous system creates sustainable success if they regulate it. I give them simple tools so they can feel more steady and focused, and a better understanding of why the burnout is probably continuing to happen over and over again, even when they think they're doing all the right things. So I love talking. I love having a conversation, and I will say over and over again, if you are the podcaster who just wants to ask me questions and not have a dialogue, I'm probably not your best guest. But I appreciate you as a human, and we'll have a conversation off camera.
I love that. Hey, it's also good to set boundaries as a guest of what you want and what you don't want. And I have learned that myself. I do not want to be on podcasts where people think they get to coach me live on their podcast. I've learned that through experience of being on podcasts where they did that, and I wasn't prepared for it. So I love that. Thank you, SK, so much for sharing. Okay, anybody else want to go next? Okay, I'll just go to my right. Mary, woo, you want to go pitch yourself next?
As soon as I find the unmute button. Hi, I am Mary Wu, a LinkedIn speaker, trainer, and consultant. I serve small business owners, predominantly women. Often it's women in a transition where they're moving their business from one place to another to help them make the best use of LinkedIn. Julie mentioned earlier that podcasts are predominantly male. And LinkedIn is actually predominantly male, but more and more women are coming on board and finding it to be a very valuable place to find clients, to find connections. So I would love to go and tell an audience, hey, what can LinkedIn bring you and how do you get it to bring it to you? And how do you bring yourself to LinkedIn? If if you want to book me, if you can't find me on LinkedIn, I'm doing something terribly wrong, or you can put a message under this video or wherever. Julie will find me if you ask her. Mary Wu.
Thank you, Mary. I love that. And I will take a photo shortly. And then what I do, which is what I do in my networking community events as well, I will post the screenshot of all of us and I will tag you all because I find that is the easiest way for you guys to all follow each other after the fact instead of dropping a million links in the chat. Hi, Connie. Welcome. Okay. And I will say, since I mentioned it, I will clarify a little bit. There are more women in podcasting now than there were last year, and even considerably more than 5 years ago. But the data shows that 65% of active podcasts are male hosted, and male hosted shows tend to have more male guests, which means there's also more male guests out there. So what that says is we need more women hosts, and we need more women hosts who are getting more women guests. And there are probably podcasts out there that are trying to find women guests because there aren't as much of us yet as there are males. So now, not every podcast is one, or the other, but there are a lot of podcasts focused on a group, which often is gender based or age based. So it is good to look at that data on a podcast before you apply to pitch. And I'll talk a little bit at the end if we have time about how to look for that data and what it means. Okay, up next in my Zoom room, I have Kirsten. Would you like to go?
Sure. Thank you. So my name is Kirsten Weiss, and if your audience includes book lovers, spiritual seekers, or aspiring writers or creators, people who might get excited about the idea of turning stories or even a single tarot card into real life breakthroughs, then I could be your guest. I've published over 70 cozy, paranormal, and metaphysical mysteries. The through line for all of these is that the heroines are smart, flawed, and they're going through some sort of internal transformation. I'm also excited to share, I have a tarot guidebook that is also a work of experimental fiction. And I'm also the creator of the Untarot deck, which is an oracle tool designed for real personal growth and connected to one of my book series, The Mystery School. My latest project coming out in January is a cozy mystery toolkit for writers. So here are 3 topics I love and that I can deliver like we're having coffee. First, how the hero's journey of this literary structure actually mirrors the path of real world or real life transformation and what we can take from that. Second, practical ways to be creative in a world that just seems to be doing everything it possibly can to kill our creativity. And finally, tarot. I've written about tarot. I love tarot. I read tarot. I can talk about the history of tarot and how to use it for personal transformation or divination. So your listeners will walk away with, sorry, am I going too fast, Julie?
No, you're
Okay.
good.
Your listeners will walk away with 2 things they can use the second the episode ends. Excuse me, 3 things. First, the free Untero app. I don't collect email addresses. I just give it away. Second, a simple framework, if we're talking about this, that uses story structure to turn unsettling life changes, because change can be so hard, and I personally hate it. I think most people do. Turn those into an adventure that they're actually excited to step into. And finally, creativity hacks that keep inspiration flowing, even when the world or AI is doing its best to just crush it. So I'm easy. I can do anything: deep dive conversation, rapid fire Q&A, a solo episode, whatever fits your whatever fits your show best. Just don't ask me to enunciate. And I will drop my one sheet in the chat as a PDF if that's okay, Julie. I'm also happy to email it. It's got my social links, a headshot, some topic teasers, and everything else you'll need. And if you think I'm a good fit, then you can just email me at kwise2001@kirstenweiss.com. I'll put that in the chat as well, and we can lock in a date. So thank you for considering me. I would love to hang out with your audience.
Yay, great job. I love that. Those are some great steps and value tips and all the things. And yes, please share your one sheet, because I'm sure everybody would love to see it if they haven't created one for themselves yet. I love that. And what you said about the creativity is so on point. And I think that's, a lot of these kind of conversations are what podcasters are looking for and want to have on their shows, because I just listened to a reel on Instagram this morning that said, because of AI and all of these things, that the creativity in our world is decreasing, that personal and natural and unique creativity is like going down, because we're using these tools to create it for us. And that the thing they said that was really stood out to me was that at a certain point, AI is going to run out of information to utilize to create the tools that they do for people, because they need more creativity for the AI to even continue to create. So it's like this kind of vicious cycle we're in right now. So we all need to be uniquely ourselves, share our story, and be creative in whatever way we can. All right. Let's see. Next up in my Zoom room, I've got Candace. Would you like to pitch?
Yes, that is the perfect segue, actually. I'm Candace McGarvey. I'm an AI adoption coach and co-founder of Collabrix. I help women and teams use human-centered AI to expand their confidence, capability, and career possibilities. So I have a different view of AI. I acknowledge all the things that have already been said. Certainly, there's a lot of ways that it is going to be used in not good ways. But one of my core beliefs is that if we use AI intentionally, it doesn't replace us, it expands who we can be. And right now, that message matters more than ever, because research shows that in the worldwide adoption of AI, women are lagging behind men between 20 and 30%. And we know that today's 30% AI adoption gap can easily become a 300% career gap for women tomorrow, simply because women have not yet seen AI used in a human-centered, authentic way that they're comfortable adopting. When women do see that possibility, something extraordinary happens. AI can become a career accelerator, a way to reclaim time, amplify creativity, and strengthen confidence. When women combine our emotional intelligence with AI skill, it becomes a new leadership superpower. So at my company, Collabrix, we integrate AI with an organizational culture called Teal 2.0. These are environments built on trust, shared leadership, and psychological safety. And when AI enters a culture like that, the results are surprising. Profits increase, but mentorship becomes healthier, skill development accelerates, and junior employees don't get pushed aside, they grow faster. So AI can enhance the workforce, it doesn't have to shrink it. This is the long-term view that gets lost in fear-driven headlines about layoffs. For women, the real opportunity is learning how to use AI with intention and discovering that it can unlock an entirely new chapter in their careers. So on your show, I can speak on topics such as AI made me more me, or AI and career reinvention. What happens when women embrace the tools? Or my favorite, Beyond Layoffs, the real story of AI and human potential. So your audience will walk away with a hopeful, empowering mindset about AI that is rooted in humanity. They will also see practical ways to use AI to reclaim time and elevate their careers. So, if your listeners are ready for a fresh, deeply human perspective on women and the future of work, I would be honored to contribute.
Love it. I love that. I love when we talk about something and it's what's coming up next in our I always love how sometimes there's this through line of everyone in the room who's pitching. So I love that so much. And it's such an important conversation because myself as a podcaster, I use AI, but I use AI that was built for podcasters. That was built to pull the information from our episodes and create content for us, not pull it from other people. And so it is important for people to understand what tools they're using and which ones are right, and also how to use it to the best of their ability and for them. I love that so much. Thank you, Candace. Okay, next up in my Zoom room is Andrea. Would you like to pitch next?
Sure. So, hey there, ladies. I'm Andrea, founder of a company called Tone for Life. And what we do is we help midlife women lose weight without dieting to fix the hormonal chaos that nobody really warned us about. And so, if your audience is made up of women who are busy, stressed, hitting midlife, and wondering why the strategies that used to work for them is not working any longer, I'm your person. Because I'm a woman and a mom of five who lived through the metabolic storm myself. And I spent years, unfortunately, eating 1,100 calories, training super hard, cutting carbs, doing everything quote unquote right, and still watched my midsection belly fat grow, joints got achy, my energy tanked, and literally I was terrified of what was next. Didn't know what to do. Doctors told me to just eat less, cut my carbs, do all of the quote unquote things, or just get used to it. And none of it really worked, and none of it was really anything I wanted to go for. So, what did work and what I really like to teach now is the actual science behind midlife metabolism. Why hormones, not willpower, are the real reason that weight loss becomes harder after 35, and how our insulin, cortisol, and estrogen shifts impact our fat storage, our cravings, energy, and overall sleep and mood, and why dieting makes midlife weight gain worse, and the small, doable levers that help women drop weight without starving or obsessing. So, some of the conversations that I've found change women's lives because most of us have been shamed into thinking we're the problem or it's our fault or we're not disciplined enough. And it really didn't teach us how to change our bodies, but really just to feel worse or get used to something we don't need to. On your podcast, I like to deliver high impact, relatable storytelling. So I will share the real lived experience of going, from burned out, inflamed, and defeated to balanced, energized, and strong. Also, like actionable hormone balancing steps that listeners can implement within, 24 to 48 hours. So they don't have to delay, their process. They can do it right away. It's very easy, no fluff, no vague tips, no quick fixes, but real steps that women can start right away. And the truth about why midlife women struggle with weight and how to finally fix it. This is one of the conversations that can keep listeners taking notes, sharing the episode. It's just such a hot topic right now. Empowerment without diet culture. So because your audience deserves to stop blaming themselves for biology they were never taught to understand, or demonizing things like peptides, hormone replacement therapy, or not even understanding that healthy food can cause inflammation in certain bodies just due to genetics. They can basically be empowered, have more midlife transformation, mental health, fitness, confidence, or personal growth. So I'm the perfect fit for that. And my mission is really simple: help women 35 to 55 get their bodies and energy and confidence back without dieting or working out harder. So if that message aligns with your community, I would love to come and serve your audience powerfully.
Yes, love it. Such important topics all women need to hear, especially the part where, we can't judge each other. All of our genetics are different. We're all starting at different points, right? But we're all going through it at a certain age. So we need to be more understanding and also give ourselves grace too about when our body changes and we don't understand why. Oh my gosh, so many podcasts will love to have you, Andrea, and so many women will want to hear what you have to share. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, next up in my Zoom room is Kat.
That's funny. I didn't even know that the pitch was for guests. I thought it was all hosts. So I was going to be listening. So I'm
Oh.
I am Kat. I love listening. I am Kat, owner of Path to Discovery Coaching, and I am a unconscious, what I call the unconscious mindset coach. So much of what I see and hear out in the world is about the conscious mind. How do we think more conscious? How do we be more conscious? And the unconscious mind gets forgotten. And a lot of our struggles, a lot of our challenges are from those past experiences, those memories, um, those belief systems that were built long before we even knew what they were. So I help women get out of that overwhelm, over giving, exhaustion space into calm clarity and courage and confidence in really being true to themselves, really coming back into themselves, getting in touch with their emotions, getting in touch with their understanding their belief systems, really gaining that clarity of what has them stuck so we can help them move the needle and shift into how do we live our dreams? What do we really want? What are our needs that are not getting met? And really step into who we were meant to be. And I do this through coaching and do this through hypnotherapy. And I do bring in Reiki energy because I'm all about the science and the woo. I am not just one or the other. I like the blend of both. And so with that, since I didn't totally prepare, that is where, oh, as far as podcasts, I love speaking on podcasts. I knew there was something else. I love speaking on podcasts. And with each podcast that I speak on, it's a little different. I've learned based on who I'm talking to and what their audience is. Because yes, I love talking about the science and the woo. I'm a master NLP practitioner. I bring in the neuroscience, I bring in the neurolinguistics, I bring in some of the quantum physics into all of that. And it's really a matter of if the audience is, because most of my clients are women, if the audience is women, it's really digging deep and helping them understand the connection of our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. And I do have a few good men because I do have a Facebook group. I wouldn't call it a podcast, but I have a Facebook group where I do interviews in because it's kind of like my step into what would it be like to be a podcaster because, well, I have Julie in my back pocket always saying, hey, need to have a podcast. So I do interviews in there. It's just a fun thing for me to experience with. And so I do have a few good men that like to really talk about how they serve women also in I won't say the healing, but the really servicing the mind, body, spirit, and emotional bodies. So yeah, and I
Great.
have
Thank you, Kat. And just FYI, I'm not a podcast pusher. I don't think everyone needs to have one, but some people should, or, should utilize what they're already doing and create a podcast with their content. So just FYI. Okay. Next up, I have Judy. Would you like to go?
Sure. Okay. My name is Judy Hahn, and my company is Mind Body Glow. I actually help people think better, sleep better, feel better, and perform better by using basically a groundbreaking brain fitness device. My mission is it's really simple. It's to help people break free from chronic stress and step into clarity, resilience, and true mental well-being without medication, struggle, or complicated routines. I will talk about how my own story of doing brain entrainment over the last 35 years has created uh, a, a completely different person than I started out to be. And really, what I've learned over those 35 years is that people aren't struggling because they lack discipline or motivation or even willpower. It's really that they're struggling because their brain is stuck in survival mode. And so operating from less stress patterns that make it hard to relax and focus, sleep, or function at their best. And so with this device, we can turn that around. The device is a science-backed in-home fitness device that uses light, sound, frequency, and guided sessions to help the brain basically reset itself. And all it takes is maximum 20 minutes a day, and it can shift your brain out of stress mode and into the states where true healing, creativity, learning, emotional balance, and deep rest actually occur. So I like to think of the device as the gym for your brain because it does everything but the heavy lifting for you. It really is there to make your brain exercise in ways that will bring about a huge change. And it's so interesting because one of the things I really love about the device is how accessible it is for children. It's great for focus and emotional regulation. Teens use it for anxiety and better sleep, adults to reduce stress, improve performance, and overall create healthier habits. And seniors, well, I can speak to that as well because one of the things that it actually I started using this particular device was in acknowledging that my husband had a minor cognitive issue. So I like to be able to speak to all levels of its use. It helps with cognitive clarity, memory, and vitality. A couple of the titles, if you wish, would be Brain Fitness Fix, How to Reduce Stress, Improve Sleep, and Rewire Your Life in Just Minutes a Day. How to Reboot Your Brain. I talk about the neuroscience of calm, clarity, and peak performance for real people, for everyday people. And another title might be From Overwhelmed to Optimal, science-backed ways to reset your brain, calm your body, and rejuvenate your energy because this device works on all levels in I mean topics. There's over 3,000 sessions on the app that runs the device, and you name the thing you're trying to address, whether it's those things I've mentioned already, or could be lifestyle, it could be business, it could be finance, it could be nutrition, it can be just about anything. I think really, if you look at what your listeners will learn, is really a simple explanation of how brainwave entrainment works and why people stay stuck in stress. And those become cycles. We can talk about what truly resets the nervous system so that clarity, focus, and sleep improves naturally. And simple science-based habits anyone can use to reduce stress, improve sleep, and create basically what we're talking about is creating new neural networks so that we think better, we feel better, we sleep better, we perform better. In order to, I'm love to tell stories about people who have used the device, clients who have used the device, and even people in my own family who use it for a variety of reasons. I would love to be on a podcast. It's one of my favorite things to do is to educate people, to help them learn more. And I can be reached either on LinkedIn as Judy Hahn or through email. I'm super excited to bring brain clarity, confidence, and practical wellness tools to anyone's audience who's interested in learning.
Great, Judy. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I love the fact that I get to learn from all of you guys as you're pitching yourself too. And making mental notes of who I like, oh, that would be great for this podcast. So I love hearing all of your guys' descriptions and what you do and how you help people. Okay, we have a couple more people left to pitch. Next up will be Connie, and then we'll go to Elaine. And Elaine, since you are the other podcaster in the room today, after you pitch yourself as a guest, you can then tell everybody about your podcast. Okay. So next up is Connie.
So Connie Warden, I live in Littleton, Colorado. My background is I'm an acupuncturist and I'm a yoga nut. I really love indigenous cultures and their medicine. That's, as I teach mindfulness and yoga. And so one day I'm driving on the road and I'm a total asshole. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not who I want to be. And I'm like, use the tools that you're teaching people. And so, I mean, it really upset me the way I behaved. So I wrote a book on my journey about becoming a more mindful, kindful driver slash person. And that's what I like to talk about because it's such a universal experience that, and so I teach some of the things that what helped me. For example, one of the biggest things is we make up stories all the time, not just on the road. If we lack information, we make a story up. So, one of the things that I grew up with, my mom really did not want any of her 8 children to be selfish. So, I talk about these selfish drivers because they're doing selfish things, and it's all a story. And it's kind of like raging at the TV because the referee made a bad call. Nothing's going to change. The only person you're hurting is yourself by giving a lot of toxic chemicals that go through your body. And you didn't change the call. You're not going to change a driver. And so this is my journey. And so what I try to do is get people to have some self-compassion for when they're jerks so that they can have compassion when other people are jerks. And I hope it bleeds into everyday life.
Love it. I think we've all had those moments when we're driving. I used to have that a lot. I used to commute a couple hours to LA, and oh boy, my road rage was bad then. But I even notice it now, working from home, I don't go out into the world as much because I'm home all day. And when I do, it's like, oh wow, I forgot how crazy it is out here. So, such an important topic and so many ways to apply it for people in their life, Connie. Thank you. Okay, Elaine, you are up next. Do you hear me, Elaine? Okay, just making sure. I know you're out. So, I am gonna drop in the chat again just in case I didn't after the last couple people joined. So this is the list of the podcasts I have currently actively looking. If you know of someone that should be added to the list, let me know and I will send them the form. I also want to drop here the link to my networking events. These are totally free. You can come whenever you want to. We have 2 this month on the 11th and the 16th, and I do have the January dates up. One of the January dates will be a featured speaker, and that is Tamara Hamilton, and she's going to be talking about how to grow your YouTube channel, which is something I've been requested in my membership by many people. And so I'm excited for her to kind of dive into that in January. Okay, Elaine, are you ready?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you
Loud?
I can hear you from the other.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it with my phone because I think it's a little less noisy than the
There is
computer.
there's a lot of background noise.
Is there? Shoot. Okay. I'm
Try it,
sorry.
try it with your computer.
Okay.
How's that?
There's
Better?
still background noise, but your voice is louder.
Okay. I apologize. So, for people, I'm so happy to see all of you. I am a speaker coach, video coach, podcast host, comedian, author. And so I love to talk about a comedic mindset can change your vibe, change your life, help you deal with any of the resilient stuff we need to have. I also love talking about the harnessing power of, is there an echo or is it just me? It's just me.
It's not bad. I'll clean it up.
Okay. Harnessing the power of storytelling, because facts don't change people's minds and hearts, stories do. I am so passionate and very the proud mama bear, working with Kirsten and Kat, watching their pitches. I'm like, yes, get so excited. And I also love to talk about cultivating confidence and that speaking well on camera, on stage, in meetings is a skill that can be cultivated. And most of us just weren't taught and don't know how to practice. Those are my favorite topics. I'm also in recovery for 25 years, and I'm always happy to share that story of my 3 addictions, assault survivor, domestic violence survivor. So I've talked about that in 46 states and 6 countries as well.
Thank you. You want to now share your podcast and what kind of guests you're looking for that?
Sure. So my podcast is called Captivate the Mic. My company is Captivate the Crowd. And I love sharing women stories of something they've overcome or their commitment. Like I was, taking notes on everybody. And I'd love to give just a tiny bit of that was so yummy. Maybe next time you could add more vocal variety or use your body more. I call it the love seat, not a hot seat. And half the time I'm so engrossed in the conversation, I forget. And then I'll just do it like in the show notes. Like listen to the way she used her vocal variety and really changed her tone and pacing. Because I wanted to create a podcast that was inspiring, entertaining, but also that they could walk away going, oh, I'm going to think about my pausing. Or, wow, I kind of talk in this tone. I'm going to do some scoops so that I can have some more vocal variety. So that's me. I put the link in the chat.
Yeah, I just added it to the spreadsheet. So it's on the spreadsheet now.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. And can I just say, if you were pitching to be on somebody's podcast, I highly recommend that you listen to an episode. I cannot tell you how many people are like, let me be on your show. Let me be on your show. And and they have not subscribed, rated, they know nothing.
Yeah.
They only know about like the description. And I'll be like, well, can you please subscribe and tell me one thing you liked about something? And I'm sure everybody here probably does that, but it's just shocking to me.
I totally agree, Elaine. It's one of the first things I say to people when they ask me about guesting. And I used to think like that's kind of like duh, but it's not. And I will say, as a host of 2 shows, I get reached out to every day via social media DMs, via emails. And you can tell within the first line if someone has listened to your podcast. You can also tell if they even know what podcast they are pitching you to. I have people give me these wonderful pitches, and I said, that's great. Did you realize you just said the story of my pet and you just pitched me a business guest? Like, please don't waste the host's time. It is one of the most frustrating parts of being a host because I think a lot of people are like creating this great pitch and then just mass emailing it or mass DMing people. But that is not a good way to get a gig, because we want to know that you really are a good fit for our show, that you've listened to it, you understand why we have a podcast and what we talk about and who we talk to. Those are little things you can do to stand out from the crowd as a guest. And another thing you could do, which I also highly recommend, is Podmatch. If you haven't heard of it or used it before, it is a great service. It is fairly low cost, and you get a lot of activity from it if you're active on through the software. It is basically a matching service, kind of like dating, but for podcast hosts and guests. I have had 24 podcast episodes published this year, and probably 75% of those came from Podmatch. So, and they are quality. And just because you're matched with the podcast doesn't mean you have to apply or pitch yourself. There's a lot of control in the way that the system works. And so, if you want to check it out, I think they do still do a free trial. So, I put that link in the chat. And another one I always love to share, especially for new guests or guests that are like, I'm having a hard time finding the right podcast. And that is a website called Listen Notes. Listen Notes is a podcast directory, it is a search engine. It is built to search podcasts, and that is all it is for. And so it is a really great site to, put in keywords, put in categories, put in your topic, and search and see what podcasts come up. The other reason I recommend it is because it shows you data you're not going to see in Apple Podcasts and Spotify or even on YouTube. It's going to tell you, when did this podcast start? How often are episodes published? How long are episodes? Do they have guests? Are they a top ranking podcast? You can also go through the most recent episodes. What topics have they been talking about? Because another super tip I will share is, if you find a great podcast, but you realize they just covered like your main topic in the last 5 episodes, it's probably not the right time to pitch them, because they just did that. So they don't want another guest on the same topic. And if you see it was, then maybe you pitch yourself slightly different, so it isn't the same topic. So I really love Listen Notes. I highly recommend it for everyone. It is a great research tool. And also, if you find one podcast that you think is a good fit, on the side, it gives you related podcasts based on the topic or the niche. So it's kind of a domino effect in finding some really great podcasts. So Podpitch and Listen Notes are my top 2 things that I share with anyone who is guesting. If you want more support than that, you are welcome to join my community. I do have a special right now. You can join through the end of the year, right? That is the end of the year this month, which I don't think my brain is computing that right now. But I do have a special. If you join right now, you can join for $20 a month. And for some reason, I can't get it to copy that. Oh, my mouse has been driving me crazy lately. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left. First, I'm going to grab a photo in case anybody has to leave early so that I can post this and tag everyone. So if you want to get on screen, put a heart on, whatever it may be, and I'll give a countdown. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you very much. So now I'm going to open up for questions, comments, anything people want to ask now that you've heard everyone pitch. Any suggestions or a podcast you think might be a good fit for someone else, feel free to unmute and share.
Well, I
Yeah.
have a question in regards to if they have recently posted, in the last 5 episodes, they've posted something that's kind of in your topic. Could you reach out and say, hey, I know you just recently did this. I don't know if you record 20 weeks in advance.
Right.
Right. But like, I am
Yeah.
interested. Shall I reach back out? Or, yeah.
Absolutely. I think that if you think it's a really great fit and you do see that a very similar or same topic has been recent, absolutely frame it like that, because then that's going to show the host you are listening, you are aware, you like it, you think it's a good podcast, and you might be able to share the same topic slightly different in the future. And yeah, a lot of podcast hosts are recording and it's weeks or months until the episode comes out. So even if they just published one, if you record with them now, it may not come out for 3 months. So it may be, space, or it could be that episode came out and it was really popular and they are wanting more people to come and talk about a similar topic. So yeah, absolutely frame your pitch that way. I think that works really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mary.
So I had a thought. Of course, it has to do with LinkedIn. When you're going to send us videos of us doing our pitches,
Yep.
we can put those on our featured section in LinkedIn so anybody wandering through our profile can see them. One of the things I'd suggest is keeping them like between 1 and 3 minutes if you want to use it in the featured section, because you're not going to get people to watch them if they're longer than that. So it's got to be
And
spot on.
I will say what I tried to do last time and I will again is I'm gonna try to keep people's clips under 3 minutes because 3 minutes is the sweet spot on most social media platforms, including YouTube. If it's over 3 minutes, it's not a short, it's automatically a video, so it shows up in different places. So I will edit yours to 3 minutes or right around there, and then you're gonna have the whole thing, so you can edit it down more if you want to. But I do try to keep it under that 3 minutes, and that is a great suggestion, Mary. The featured section is really important on LinkedIn. That's where I have my two newsletters and my podcasts. And I get new subscribers on my newsletters every week because if people are viewing my profile, they see those first versus, in the last 10 posts I put. So, such a great suggestion. Thank you, Mary. Anyone else have a question or, yeah, Connie, go ahead.
I have two questions actually. One is for you, Mary. And do you get more visibility if you pay for LinkedIn?
Um, I will give you my 99% of the time. If somebody asks me that question and I go and I looked at their profile, I can find 5 or 10 things that they're not taking advantage of that LinkedIn gives them for free.
Mhm.
So unless you're already running it at a pretty strong speed, it's not worth investing in. It's worth investing
That's a
in
great
taking
answer.
actions of doing the right things and not, you don't have to give them the money.
Sounds like you need to get on Mary's email list or go to one of her workshops and make sure you're optimizing it. And maybe Mary,
Nobody,
we can have you come into the podcaster party group and maybe do a session on LinkedIn for everyone. We can talk about it. That would be
I'd
great.
love to.
Yeah, because
My
I think
second
that
question is,
I was just going to say, I think that we're all in so many places. We don't always know that we're doing the right thing in the different places, and it changes, right? There's always new features, I mean, Instagram, I don't know what they're doing. They just changed it and then they changed it back again, and carousels are blowing up there for some reason. It's really weird. So, none of us can keep up with all of the places, and that's why I try to bring in those experts into my community to share it because I have to learn myself. So, yeah, Connie, what's your other question?
I'm in Podmatch, and lately all I get are people who speak with an Indian accent, and I can't understand them. And I was a guest on a podcast, and I kept having to ask her to say it again, like the question.
Hmm,
And that's going to stop me from going on because I don't know if anyone else has had that problem.
I haven't run into that myself, but it could be the tags you're using. I don't know. Are you listening to the podcast before you get interviewed so that you can
Well,
hear the hosts?
that was the mistake I made because
Okay.
I thought I was being interviewed for, to be on this podcast from this lady. And she says, "Oh, no, we're going to do it right now." And so and so I had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
And then,
Well,
so now I listen. Yeah, I listen to everybody now, but I want to listen to it anyway. Like who said, like, please listen to the podcast before you ask to
right.
go on. And so I do. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I
but
don't know.
and
That's a odd one. It could be that maybe they're getting more international podcasts adding to Podmatch right now. I'm not sure. If you want to, we can
yeah.
jump on and look at your Podmatch at some time and see maybe there's a tweak we can make. But yeah, Podmatch is great because now they actually tell you before you message your matches, have you listened? If not, click here and we'll tell them that you listened to their podcast, which is good because I will say as a podcast host, I actually now get about 20% of my downloads every episode from Podmatch directly. So it's not my website, it's not YouTube. They're actually listening right in Podmatch. So that's giving me more boosts. And so then people are more likely to respond to you if you're using that service. But yeah, I think that example, Connie, is a great reason why, yeah, you want to listen to the podcast before because it may be they do it in a way that you're not comfortable with, right? I know one of the podcasts that's on the list, Smiling Souls, they do a very different kind of podcast. They do different things throughout the hour. And one of the things they do is pull a tarot card, but they tell you ahead of time, we're going to do this. Is this okay? If you don't aren't comfortable with it, do you have your own deck you want to pull from, or we'll pull a card for you? So there are little things like that that you're going to learn by listening. But also good hosts should tell you. So good hosts should tell you that they're recording when you meet and not just that you're being introduced to them. So, yeah, oh my goodness. I will say, as a host, guesting helps me learn what I like and what I don't like and what I don't want to do to my own guests. So that is definitely something that I have learned through the process myself. Okay, any other questions, comments, anything you want to share or ask? Okay. Well, I love a group that doesn't have a lot of questions. So, as I said, I will be taking this recording and creating your clips. I should be able to get those emailed to you by tomorrow. And then I do this event every month. If you want to come back, you are welcome to. I believe we're doing it again on January 4th, but I'm going to check my date before I say that because we always forget. And no, we're not. It's not the 4th. It is Thursday, January 8th, same time at 11 a.m. Pacific. And if you know anyone that would like to attend, feel free to share it. As I said, my community membership right now is only $20 a month, and that includes the Pitch Fest. When you purchase the membership, you can come to any of the membership events, which includes the live Pitch Fest. I also do a live, what I call a like-a-thon and review swap, where you can come and share any links you want. You don't have to have a podcast. It can be your social links, it can be your newsletter links, it can be your YouTube channel. And everybody spends time during the hour actually going and liking and following and helping boost everybody else's content, as well as I do a lot of deep dive workshops and other kind of tech house twos. Next week, we have someone coming to do some podcast goal setting. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know and I'll send you the link for that. Yeah, Elaine? Oh, thanks, Elaine. Bye.
Everybody, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it is officially the end of the hour. So thank you all so much. As I said, you will get a link to this recording, and that link will go to my YouTube channel. You are welcome to connect it to your YouTube channel if you have one. I can tag you in it if you want me to, as well as you will get an individual clip to download of your pitch. And I'll also update the list of podcasts and send that out in the follow-up email as well. All right. Well, thank you all so much. It was great to see you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.